Ashe, ashe, ashe. Give thanks and praise for the breath in our lungs, for the beat in our chests, for the birds chirping outside. We give thanks and praise to the Most High. Thank you so much.
You,
Um,
you, thank you. Thank you for receiving. And just thank you. You told me one of the times, Star, you told me. I remember you said the we have a flute, right? You said this is the flute
yeah,
right here. This is the flute. You said this is the drum
yes,
and this is the flute. And I was like, wow.
we are musical instruments. We're an orchestra of our own. I made a post yesterday, and I was writing a poem, and it was like, you are in the center of your universe, composing your own verse to the rhythm of life, right? I think that is the truth. I think we're all here to sing and dance, and I think we're all capable of every artistic ability there is. And right before we hopped on the live, I was reflecting and doing a lot of self-healing, sitting here in nature by the water. This is my safe space. And oh, look, I'll show you my safe space. There she is. This is where I give my offerings and I sit here and meditate. And I was thinking to myself, like, how I used to be really conscious of my ability to sing. And it all started when I was really young and I received judgment. And there was this comparison situation going on. But then I realized that's why a lot of us have closed up. That's why a lot of us don't express ourselves. And a lot of us feel like, oh, we can't sing or we can't dance. And the truth is, everybody's expression is unique. And it's beautiful in its own way. And there's not a specific way to sing or a specific way to dance. I feel that we should just allow ourselves to be and to grow in love with that natural expression of being, and accepting that is the divine way of living in this realm, to just be you. And I wanted to say I appreciated I saw a reel that you made and you just took your hair out, and you were like, man, I love myself. And I really felt that because I've elevated from so much shame and fear and anxiety, and I can now reflect and really shine light and love on all parts of myself. Like it doesn't matter what I look like at this point. I know I'm beautiful because it's an internal thing. It's a vibration, and so the outside is just a compliment to the inside.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that, Star. When you talk about, the universe, is that what sparked the change in the name?
Oh, a star?
With a Star Universe.
Yeah,
You know?
yes, it did. Yes, it did. I was I was going by I am a star, and then there's a lot of people trying to be me, and I was like, okay. And so I said I want to do another name, and I thought to myself, what do I want to call this? And I was like, well, I want people to be a part of my universe, and so I said, well, I'm gonna call it A Star's Universe, and everybody can get a piece of my lifestyle.
Mhm. Beautiful. And one more time, when you said that word universe, like I once heard that word, like one song, like how do you feel that we're all connected in that way with just that word, how that means to you?
Mm. I think that everything is just a reflection of itself. Um, and that like for instance, this beautiful leaf here, right? Can you guys see that leaf right there? You know how many microorganisms and it has thousands, if not millions of cells. And so this one leaf is a universe of its own. And I know that, there's a there's a galaxy, and it only expands more and more, but I know it's like refracting what's already here. So in many ways, I'm also an extension of this leaf, and the leaf is also an extension of me. And my universe is a universe inside a universe inside a universe inside a universe inside, and it's perpetual. And it's this infinite awareness that I'm also those birds having this conversation, and you're on the receiving end of it as well. And there's no separation at all. It's just one song, one rhythm. And we all are just reflecting that rhythm, you know? And that's why I brought up the heart space, and I brought up the flute. And I know that it's just, it's so beautiful. And it's not a phenomenon. I know it to be true.
You know, and in that knowing that you're constantly growing, you know, and just constantly flowing within this knowing, were there ever times you might have found that you didn't feel that oneness around? Like, were there ever times where you weren't disaligned, and where within your mind it wasn't that oneness vibration, you know, that you actually felt a little bit of separation before you came into this information, you know?
Yo, I appreciate that you rhyme when you speak. I think it's so dope. Yeah. Yeah, of course, y'all. If y'all don't know, I was in the hood, you know what I mean? I was out here in these streets, and, you know, the streets was screeching. You know, they was doing what they was doing, and it was, there was a lot of separation at one point in my life. And there was also a lot of like beef. I used to eat meat. I was not, I was not happy at one point. I was very upset. And I remember being very, very much so in a deep depression. But I think even that is oneness. Like, I think even me going through that is a reflection of the oneness in the earth and in society. I think that at some point, especially in this era of time, we've all experienced some dark phases of our lives. And I think that even while that was happening, there were millions of other people going through almost like a very similar thing, you know? So I was never alone. And, which means technically I've always been unified. And I was just unified with different frequencies at the time. I think that, yes, love is everything, but I know that there are different expressions of love and different frequencies and vibrations, and I was just vibrating on a different frequency. You know, I was not happy. I was fearful or sad, but I was not alone.
Right.
I was surrounded by sad, unhappy people, so there was still a unified vibration there. But now it's just deeper. It's not backwards. I think back then my awareness of it all was backwards. I didn't know that it was love. I thought it was evil. I thought everything was evil, you know? But technically it was still love. It's just my perspective was shifted, you know? It was the awareness that, wait, maybe I should change my angle. And so as opposed to seeing it as separate from me, and this is a level that I haven't gotten to, or a devil that I can't really perceive, I started to say, okay, maybe I need to see this from a different angle. And I embraced my angels, and they were like, yeah, just flip that around and read it the other way. And I was like, oh, it's love. So I was like, oh, evil. Oh, okay. So I'm love. You know what I mean? Because I at one point I thought I was evil, and then I was like, wait, no, that's not me. No.
You said you thought you were?
Yeah, I thought I was. I thought I was a lot of things. I remember being lost.
And it
Um,
wasn't something that anybody else told you. You're saying you actually thought this.
oh no, people told me.
Oh.
It was something that was being like put into my mental space. But I'm actually grateful for all of those experiences, because ultimately what I'm realizing, and it's such a beautiful thing how the universe works, once you raise your frequency, right, and once you start to truly embrace yourself and love yourself, the universe just starts like weeding people out of your life, and you don't even have to do anything. You just have to continue to be yourself, and you'll find that those who don't accept you, or more so don't accept themselves and don't love themselves, they'll be like, man, nah, we can't be around each other anymore. And I've learned to just remain in this state of gratitude for everything that happens, and that there's no such thing as losing, you know. Um, and so I'm just perpetually gaining information, and I'm putting it in formation, and I'm changing and growing and expanding.
Yes, yes, we feel it, you know, we feel it. And it's like, thank you for your courage and, the ability to heal it, the ability to reveal it, the things that we had once concealed, allowing ourselves to feel, and it's real. It's real. So thank you so much, because your test is just a testimony to people like myself, where it sounded like there were different points in our mental health journey that we had different states of awareness, like you said, looking at things from different angles, not being alone, having those angels, but then you also like had different temptations that might have been dangled in front of you, right? So your attention was directed, and it seemed like since something else had your attention, you were almost living in a new dimension, right? So that is very interesting just to hear about, and just to know that even still you felt like you were never alone, because I think for a lot of us that's not always known, and not always shown in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I give thanks for the unified consciousness. Right now, I know there's a shift in the unified consciousness, and more people are waking up and remembering themselves. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this. What is this? This is this is the golden renaissance. This is the etheric renaissance, if you will. Um,
Pray
this
tell, do
we
tell.
are in a renaissance right now, where we're emerging out of dark ages. You feel me? We just went through this whole COVID situation. It was a war on love, essentially. And shoot, when you try to suppress something, it's like, for instance, if I had a balloon, right, and I was doing my best to compress the balloon, push the balloon down with all of my might, but the balloon inevitably will rise without that pressure. So the moment you ease up, that balloon is going to soar high up in the sky, especially if you had a lot of pressure on the balloon. And so I think the balloon is a metaphor for the love that is inside of us. And I think the compression was us kind of breaking through this collective depression that we were all in. And I don't want to point fingers at anybody, because I know it's me. Like, it's all of us. So there's really nobody to be like, oh, they started COVID. It's like, yo, we were all a part of this. You know what I mean? And it was so needed. It was actually really needed. We had to get dark. I mean, super dark. It wasn't until I realized I need to breathe when I had a mask on my face and I couldn't breathe. It wasn't until like I was like struggling to breathe, working a minimum wage job and being sexually harassed, where I was like, wait, this is not right. Like, I had to really evaluate myself, because it felt like I was being suppressed, and I'd never been suppressed to that extent. Societally, it was like, this is intense, and it was like we can't just sit back and watch this anymore, y'all. We have to wake up. And then you have all of these individuals who started to wake up and started to breathe deeper and to move their body, because we weren't allowed to touch each other. So what happened is, now you got cuddle puddles. Now you got people that just want to show love. Now you got people outside with big ass signs, and we're like, yo, cut your free hugs. And that's what happens when you try to suppress love, and you try to suppress high frequencies. It may work to what, for a day or two, but after that you're going to have an uprising, and that's what's needed to create real change. You know, real change is not made through ease and like, you know, something like it's just not made out of nowhere. If you want to really change, you gotta get uncomfortable. You gotta get really uncomfortable. And I mean, this is kind of like, for instance, because I teach yoga and I do yoga like every day. I'm always learning new things about my body and moving my body in new ways. So I know that finding the comfort in discomfort is how you grow, right? So allowing myself to be comfortable with being uncomfortable is how I have been able to grow. And I know that I am a reflection of everybody. So in order for us to grow collectively, we had to get super uncomfortable with the way we have been living. I would not be in the heart of nature, baby, right now. You know what I mean? If I wasn't in the heart of concrete and wondering what nature feels like and longing for that connection because something felt like it was missing. But now that I went through that, I have this incredible appreciation of nature where I could just be here. I could eat dirt, y'all. I could literally sit here and eat dirt because I love the earth so much, because I know what it's like to not have the earth in my life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that, you know, it reminds me of some of my Jamaican family members. They told us as youngsters, they said they said God made dirt, dirt don't hurt, put it in your mouth and let it work. That's what they said.
Yes.
That's what they said, you know, and it sounds like it's just the whole, you know, paradoxically, it sounds lovely the way that you spin it and the way that we can begin to see things differently, and how you can find your vision and be even more on your mission when you arrive at that level of opposition, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when you have adversity that can be overcome, you know, it's like it's already won, like you said, an uprising, like the balloon is uprising, it's rising up,
Yeah.
right? So I love this. I love these parallels and just, you know, the things that you explore with different metaphors, you know, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I think this whole experience is like, well, you know, the universe and it being a song and it being rhythmic. Peace, your mind. And I think that we should, and that's why I really appreciate that you rhyme, because you're really vibrating on this frequency of being in attunement with the natural realm. I think even with the animals and the way that they communicate, like if you take a songbird, you know, they're releasing rhythmic tones that's in alignment with the earth's frequency, right? And so when we speak like that to each other, where it feels like a song, because the birds, they essentially are singing to each other, right? And that's even how they you know, they mate and all of that. And so I'm like, I think we're supposed to be composing to each other, y'all. I think that it shouldn't be monotonous. Like we shouldn't be speaking like robots. You know what I mean? We should, you know what I mean? It's just too much. I feel like it should be in the most natural way. It should be rhythmic, and it should be incredibly expressive. So whatever you're feeling like expressing, you express it to the fullest of your extent, because I don't think we're here to work. I think we're here to be.
Mm.
And I think our being and our natural being is birthed from creativity. So us allowing ourselves to really just express ourselves creatively, I think that's the true wealth. I mean, you take anybody who is passively uh, a millionaire, anybody who's passively making a lot of money, they are creative. They're super creative. I mean, if you even step foot in their realm, because they have a whole realm now, because all they're doing is creating. All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make this song, or we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make this technology. Da, da, da. But they're always in this space of creativity. And I think those who are or perceive themselves to be poor, they always feel disconnected
Mm.
from their creative centers. They always feel like, oh man, I know I can't sing, I can't dance, I can't do this, I can't. And it's a lot of suppression of that creative energy. And I think that creative energy, going with the chakras, right? We have our root, So us just being secure and safe and feeling like we are provided for is very important, right? And then after that, we come into the sacral space, because that is the most important part for us to elevate from. So once we have our creative center, or once you know, okay, I love expressing myself in this way. I love to sing. Yes, I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to write poetry. I love to play the guitar. I love to whatever it is that allows you to express your creative centers. Once you identify that, it's about then becoming consistent with it. So we go into our solar plexus, and it's like, okay, if I'm a singer or I'm a dancer or I'm all of these things, how can I be consistent in providing that as an offering? And that's the key. That's something I just recently learned. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm just doing it to do it. I think, and I know, it's an offering for the earth. The animals, they are constantly giving offerings to the earth. If you really pay attention, the birds, the bees, the earthworms, even the dogs and the cats, they know I have to take a shit here. This is very important. I know you may not understand this, but I need to take a shit right here. And they literally go and they like are sniffing to find a sweet spot. And they know this is my offering to the world. But then you have human beings coming with plastic bags and trying to pick shit up. But it's like, that is the offering. The offering from this animal was their waste. They're bringing that back to the earth so the earth can then process it, turn it into some growth and development. And the same thing with the earthworms. They're giving offerings. They're breaking down all of those things and allowing it to become more easily almost digestible for the earth, right? Even the birds, their song is a offering. So I'm like, we also should be giving offerings to the earth every single day. And we can do that with even the food we eat, right? You eat something, you put it back where it came from, right? I tend to do this. I come out and I eat maybe a banana. I love mangoes. I love mangoes. So I'll be out here with the mango, and I'm singing. That's my offering. So I just sang to the earth. Okay, earth, I gave you a song, and I'm also gonna give you some mango peels. Okay, and I'm gonna show you some love. I'm gonna go hug a tree, and the entire time I'm out here barefoot. I have no shoes. So these are my offerings, and I know that the more offerings you give, the more your life will become enriched, like energetically. Energetically, you will be provided for in tenfold, because what you receive, you give back. And it's a constant symbiotic relationship. And I think that's the goal, to live in yes, good karma. Yes, good karma, and just creating that almost like it's an investment, like constantly investing your energies into the earth, knowing that this is the source. So when you die, you go back to the earth. So if you're investing in the same thing that essentially created you, think about how big an ROI you about to receive.
Right.
And if that is return on investment. So that's, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Estar. I love how you talk about investing, because I saw you put something else on your page, and you put it up. It was about your massage therapy and how people can be investing in their peace, and how peace could be its own form of investment. Could you talk about that? Like how you go out of your way, every day to actually invest in yourself in that way.
Yes. One of the brothers said, you don't need offerings, just move with love. That's your offering. Your offering doesn't necessarily need to be physical. It could be metaphysical. It could be even just a positive vibration. You coming outside with joy. That's an offering. Because truthfully, this is an energetic plane that we live on. So everything is about energies and frequencies and vibrations. So if you're coming out here and you're emitting a frequency that is positive, that is fruitful, then I know that's an offering. But yes, investing in yourself is key, because this, like I said, this body goes back to the earth. The way I see this is I'm borrowing. I'm borrowing organic material. I'm a soul, and I am borrowing organic material. And what I put into the body, I then receive. So the same thing with what I put out of the body, I also receive that. So it's like the more and more I invest in myself, like, okay, let me wake up and do some breath work and do my yoga and break fast with a fruit in the middle of the day. So I'm fasting up until about 1 p.m. These things, doing it intentionally so that I can become more fruitful and become more energetic and raise my vibration so that it affects everything that I touch. You know, it's an investment not just in me, but also in the collective frequency, knowing that it's not just about a star. Because what is a star without a constellation?
I felt that. I felt that vibration. So it's being in service to you to be even more of service to others. Like being in service to a star to be even more on purpose for another. Your sisters and brothers.
Yes.
You know? Okay.
Including my mother.
Right.
And my father.
Oh my gosh. You know, earlier you talked about the word poor and having a poor mind state, you know, where we might not really feel great when we have that poor mind state. One of my friends once told me, Estar, they said that poor is like an acronym for passing over opportunities repeatedly. That's what they said. They said poor is just passing over opportunities repeatedly. And what you resonated with me because there's always an opportunity to express the way you know best. You know, there's always an opportunity to feel more when you might have felt less. So, you know, in feeling when certain things might have been repressed or even suppressed, you know, like you said earlier, even oppressed, it seems like there has to be a form of expression when there's that gigantic form of oppression.
Exactly. Yo, thank you so much for that acronym. Yeah, that's dope. That's a super dope acronym. But yeah, no, it's true because we're all abundant. So there's really no way you could be at a loss of abundance. You know what I mean? Because it's an abundant paradigm. You know, when you go into nature, you can see just how abundant it is. It goes without saying. So, no, you're right. It is the perception that you are not deserving. And I just recently made a video about what you deserve. And I think that really came through because I was like, whoa, the universe is like, honestly, constantly just responding to itself. You know, it's just like when somebody pinches you, right? You have a jerk response to go like, man, ow, why'd you do that? So the universe is responding to you in the same way. So it's like if you're putting out frequencies of you don't deserve abundance, or you don't have money, or you don't have food, or you don't have affection, universe says, okay, cool, all right, that's what you want. We gonna just listen to you. That's what you got. You say you don't got nothing, okay, we're not gonna give you anything.
Well,
You know,
what's that song, Estar? It's like what you see is what you get. I remember.
what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
It's what yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's true. What you see, and I mean that like with your first eye, you know, you may not see it in the physical realm. That's not. I don't think that's how things are created. I think that things are first created in the mind. You know, that's the first hermetic principle. The mentalism. Everything stems from the mind. So it's like once you can perceive it in your mental space, in your mind's eye, and I know there's a mind's eye for the earth as well. I know that all of this stuff isn't just coming from nowhere. It's coming from the ethers, the etheric realm. And I know that we are simply a reflection of what's above, right? And so we're below, but it's just a reflection. So I know I'm speaking to you, probably telepathically, right? In the ethers right now. We're probably in the ethers, you know, having an astral conversation. with each other. And right now that's just being reflected below. And I know that it works both ways. So if you want something to come forth in the physical plane, then exist as, like, you should move and exist as if you're already living in that frequency. Because once it's happening above in your mental space, right? Because the crown connects us to the etheric realms and to the astral plane. So if we're dreaming about it, and we're writing about it, and we're singing about it, and we're dancing about it, and we're communicating about it, like, yo, this is all that matters to me, right? This is all that matters to me. The physical realm, everything on the physical realm starts to react to that, like, oh, okay, we got a manifester over here. We got to start, we got to start changing this reality real quick, because they are adamant that this is what they live in. So, I mean, at first, and what I've noticed too is, I know that we're heading into a space where we are all in alignment with this love frequency. But right now, what's needed is strong leaders. I know this is true. What's needed, because it's something I'm feeling. What's needed is strong leaders for this new world. And so we're going through this time where everybody's kind of like trying to navigate through it. And some of us are still lost. Some of us don't get it. And that's important, because we need some strong leaders. And so I feel right now it's just about staying true to that vision. Do not, like, don't focus on anything else. There might be somebody that comes into your life and they're like, oh, that's not possible. That can't happen. Right. And that's important, because you have to look at everything around you, no matter what it is. Because I could stand here right now and be like, I'm at the beach. You know what I mean? I'm at the beach. And the more and more I focus on being at the beach, y'all, I will end up at the beach. I guarantee you. The beach will come to me, as a matter of fact. Watch me. It will happen. So I know that it's that powerful, focusing on that internal frequency, projecting it, no matter what you see in that reflection, knowing that's just a reflection right now. That might just be a part of you that doesn't believe it's going to happen. And so that part of you is like, nah, man, that's not going to happen. So you have to basically not convince that part of you, but to focus on the part of you that knows it's happening. And that's why going within is the greatest superpower that we all have. We all have it.
Right.
Have the ability to go within ourselves.
Right. Right. They do say, that's a word, Estar. That's such a message right there, because they do talk about how when we don't go within, we go without.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's something you were saying about, it's almost like what we focus on the longest tends to grow the strongest, And when you're talking about the new world, and how in the new world, we're going to need leaders, as we're navigating, maneuvering, and, managing ourselves, we're going to need leaders, strong leaders. So in your mind's eye, in your first eye, what do you see the new world as? What does the new world look like to you?
So in the new world, I do that, and there's like at least 10 people that pick up the frequency, and I hear it back on. And it's just, in the new world, we are so deeply connected. That is the truth. The new world is all about deep connection. The new world is the polarity of what we've been experiencing as children. I don't know if you went through it, but I know I went through it. And there's a lot of disconnection, a lot of fighting, and incarceration of the mental space. The new world is the polarity of that. It is, we are now connected. We're deeply in love with this experience. So we are spending or investing more of our energies into connectivity. And like neurons firing off and connecting with each other, as opposed to like a cellular death and cells eating each other. I feel like we're coming from a space of cancer where, a group of us decided, okay, we're going to malfunction. And then they shared that code of malfunctioning with other people. They were like, yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you're going to malfunction with me. Okay. And everybody's like, yeah, I don't really want to do that. But if that's what we're all doing, then I guess we'll do it. Yeah. All right, let's malfunction, y'all. And so we all had cancer. We had a cancer of the mind. And the new world is about saying, okay, enough of that. All right, everybody who chooses to still have cancer, uh, um, you can do that. You can continue to have cancer, but the majority of us, we're healing. The majority of us, yeah, we got to heal from this. That's not sustainable. Okay, and that's why I say the leaders are very much so needed. You know, because we're gonna need strong individuals who have been living this way for decades. Who have truly embodied, and I mean we're gonna need the elders. So the elders who live in this frequency, I am going to be one of those elders. You know, I trust you will also be one of those elders where we're teaching our philosophies and what we've learned through our practices, because we're going to be reconnecting again. And I feel we've really strayed from that, so much so because growing up, I didn't have elders in my life that were filled with, I didn't have elders in my life that were filled with wisdom, and that supported me and that said, hey, you know, the key to life is breath and prana and chi, and these are the centers in your body. So we need that. And we need individuals who have been practicing this even when everybody was going through cancer. You know what I mean? The individuals that were like, yeah, we're going to be those major T cells. We're going to be those major white blood cells going around and healing right now. So I know I am chosen for this because it's like my life path. It's all that I feel I'm here for. It's like I'm here to, from the moment I was born, I knew I was here to heal. I didn't know how to do it yet, but I've been navigating through this, and now that I see all my different reflections, you know, showing up, and we're like, yeah, we've been doing this, you know what I mean? It's all about the Tai Chi, like it's all about the breath work, baby. You got to move your body. Yeah, that's how we go do it, okay? So, yes.
I agree. And thank you for sharing that vision, you know. Thank you for that illustration, just painting that picture for us, because, you know, I definitely agree when you're talking about like the elders. I already see you as one of those elders, you know, like I don't really see age, so I feel like you're already at the stage where you're teaching, you're reaching, you're not just preaching, right? You're really coming from the lived. And talk about chosen for this path. Do you feel like you chose this path or this path chose you?
Everything is mutual. Everything is mutual. When you love somebody and you love them deeply, it's because they love you. When you dislike somebody and you dislike them deeply, it's because they dislike you. It's mutual. And and that's just how the energies and the frequencies work. We could try to lie our way out of it, but the truth is it's mutual. I know I am chosen because I chose myself, and vice versa. I have now become chosen because I chose myself. Because I chose myself, I am chosen. It's So, I mean, I know that all of us have the capacity to reach this state of awareness because, yeah, think about it. There were millions and trillions of sperm cells heading to that egg. And you mean to tell me that you was the one that fertilized it? You mean to tell me that you were the one that fertilized that zygote, okay? And you broke past that layer all by yourself? All right, you got up in there, and then you stayed up in there for a whole 9 months. I mean, if you didn't do it for 9 months, you still did it. You still did it. You was in there for a minute, okay? And you were absorbing all of that nutrients, and you was funny. You know, even babies also help mothers repair themselves. So you were also helping your mother while you were in the womb. That's a powerful thing. You can't sit there and tell me that you haven't been chosen. Chosen. You are chosen. If you went through that whole process of, okay, ejaculation, all right, fertilization, you was full term, or you were in there for a minute, and then you made it out healthy, and you're still here now, and you're still breathing. Oh, you are chosen. You are chosen. So I know everybody who is living, everybody who is a living, breathing being is a chosen being. You've been chosen for something great, to go through that whole stage, because there's so many, you think about it, there's so many souls and spirits that didn't make it through. They didn't get through that part. You know, there's a lot of women who've had stillbirths, and I'm sending my love. A lot of women who have had babies die. You know what I mean? And you are here, you're alive. I don't know for how many years, but you're still here and you're functioning and you're able to make your own cognitive decisions. You have the ability to be conscious and you have the ability to grasp information. You're breathing every single day. Your body is digesting food. Your mind is functioning. That is a chosen being. You're chosen. So yes, I chose myself because I know I'm chosen, because I'm living and I'm breathing and I made it through. I made it through all those trials and tribulations. Okay. And we all have testaments and testimonies, and we all have, and I know for a fact, I'm definitely going to be a head of a ministry. I know this for a fact because I know that church taught me a lot. I grew up in a church and it taught me a lot. I know that we are all chosen, period. We're all chosen. We all have testimonies. And the truth of the matter is we just need to connect, just like the neurons in the brain. You know what I mean? We just need to connect. So much so where I don't even have to say it, but it's felt and it's known.
Yeah.
I know that we have that ability.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, the energy is so felt, you know, the energy is so felt right now. We feel the passion, you know, we feel the power from your words right now. This is your ministry. You spreading the ministry right now. It's already right now, you know, there's no, like, time is an illusion. So we're doing it in this now moment. You own it. You know, like they say, now is like no opportunity wasted. You're making it known, you're letting it be shown. And when you talked about how, you know, just being in that state and understanding that you're chosen, because why do you feel like even if somebody knows that they're chosen, what do you feel like would keep most people frozen, you know?
Hold on. I'm writing that acronym down.
Okay, go ahead.
That was golden. I said, wait, and I said no opportunity waits. So you know that's an opportunity to relay. I'm gonna pin it too. No opportunity waits. Yes,
Right.
that's now.
And no opportunity wasted, you know, because oh my gosh, you know, as we face it and as we embrace it, it's like, okay, chosen, saying that somebody is chosen, and that, of course, so many spirits, they say, stood in line just to be able and to be stable in that organic material. Like you said, you've been given this organic material, right? And so you've been chosen, but why do you feel like even if somebody somehow knows they've been chosen intellectually, they stay frozen, you know, physically or spiritually or emotionally? They don't allow themselves to embrace that.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, so I'm crossing the street right now because I gotta get back in the house. But yes, I know that for me, because I can only really speak for myself and my like anecdotal. Feel me? Like I could say I could speak for everybody else, but it's really from my heart space. So I know for me, what was holding me back for so long was illusions. You know, false evidence appearing real. That's really what it was. It was like I was constantly telling myself that I was programming myself essentially to think I wasn't good enough. It was me, and at the time, what it really was manifesting as was this victimization and saying that, oh, it was because of this person that I can't do this, or it's because this person said this to me that I can't overcome it, right? And y'all, I mean, I'll never forget. I remember my wig flew off. My wig flew off when I was a little girl, and my whole heart was crushed. I thought I could never go to school again, right? Because my wig flew off. But then my mother, I love my mother. My mother said, girl, you better go get your wig and you better bring it up over your head. You better swing it around like this. And then you tell everybody, yeah, I was wearing a wig. And then, you know what I mean? You own it and you accept that. And I think that might be what's difficult for people, is to accept that all parts of this experience is valid and that there's no specific way you have to be in order to be chosen, in order to be accepted. There's no specific way to be. You just be. And so I think the early Estar was always thinking I had to sound a certain way. And I had to express myself in a certain way in order to be received. And if I didn't do it specifically in this way, and I know this came about because of the school system and the way that I was taught. And I was taught that some answers are wrong and some answers are right. And that if you're wrong, you fail. You failed the test and you don't get to advance from this level. That's what it was. I thought that in order for me to be famous and rich, because as a little girl, I always wanted to be a famous singer. But I actually, as a little girl, decided that wasn't possible for me because I told my family members, I said, hey, I'm going to be famous like Beyonce. And they were like, yeah, no, you can't do that because your voice isn't good enough. And so I accepted that. I decided to accept that and move accordingly. I thought, okay, that must be the wrong answer, right? Like maybe the right answer is, oh, I'm a doctor. And so that's what, because I grew up with Jamaicans, they thought that was the ish. They thought, you know, you don't want to be a singer, you want to be a doctor, you want to go to school, right? And so I thought that was the right answer, but it's an institutionalized way of thinking. It's not the natural way of thinking, because I think, and naturally, and I noticed this just by being around children accept themselves, you know, in their natural state. Children don't perceive race, age, color, you know what I mean? Even language. They're like, hey man, that's what you want? What can I learn from it? And the truth is they're very, very expressive. So even if they don't like something, they are very expressive about how they don't like it or why they don't like it. And truthfully, most of the time, that's something that's been programmed. They've been programmed to not like things. And I think we've also been programmed to not choose ourselves and to not accept ourselves. And to think that, oh, we have to be a certain way, or we have to speak a certain way to be received, to be accepted in this society. I just don't think that's the way that we should function. So yeah, if there's any obstacles, the obstacle is you. If there's any obstacles that's telling you, hey, oh, I'm not the one, or I can't possibly be chosen. That's you. And that's you taking on the ideas of people that have already convinced themselves that they are not good enough. You're just taking on a form of programming. And to be honest with you, it's cancerous. That's a cancerous form of programming. You know, you start to kill yourself that way, and you do it really slowly, which means it's just not pretty. So
Wow.
follow your dreams and know that you don't have to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, it's like the greatest individuals. I mean, you could take Bob Marley. I love Bob. I know that he wasn't constantly thinking about how he's showing up on stage or even what he sounds like. He's like, man, I'm just gonna sing my heart. This is what my heart sounds like. Here's my heart. I remember growing up, I wasn't there for the birth of Bob Marley in the physical plane. But when I came into this physical realm, I was like, he must still be alive. And I was moving like he was alive for maybe like 3-4 years. And then somebody had to tell me, no, Bob's dead. I was like, no, he's not. He's living. Have you not listened to his music? You know what I mean? He's alive in his music. And I think, honestly, that's our contribution. Our contribution is to move as our authentic selves as much as possible, whatever that is. Like, and it may be a challenge because there's a lot of our elders and our parents. They decided that they wanted to move. Some of us, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for me, my parents decided to move synthetically. You know, I was raised in a house where the plants were fake. Like, I think that says a lot. Like, to be raised in a house where the plants are fake and you just have all these TVs in every room. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty because my parents are beautiful beings, but it was not real, you know, to be told that I have to wear this fake hair to feel good or to look good because that's what my mother did. So I'm only mirroring her. So I thought
if I was natural, I wouldn't be received. That's the wrong way to go about it, you know? Because everybody in my life was just fake. Like, oh, I gotta have these fake plastic nails on so that I could get a boyfriend or be appreciated or have friends in high school. And so that's what I was doing at the time, because those were the programs that were being instilled into my mainframe. I think this is a game. And so you have the opportunity though to reprogram yourself. It's like if you had a remote control, you know, you press a series of buttons in a specific way, and then bam, you know what I mean, the reprogramming begins. The initiation begins. So you might need to program yourself to go and take some psilocybin. Wow. And dive deep, or go to an ayahuasca journey. Or if you're not doing any of that, you might need to program yourself to start taking up yoga or kundalini yoga or tai chi, and really practicing that every day, so that you can start to reprogram yourself. Like, okay, I know this programming was faulty, clearly, because, you know, I'm chosen, and for whatever reason I didn't think I was. So that's faulty programming. What the real programming here is truth, and truth resounds no matter who you are, no matter where you're coming from. You know that truth. You know truth when you hear truth. You know truth when you feel truth. So you can tell, and this, your intuition will always be able to tell you when somebody's sitting there lying to you. When somebody's sitting there and they are not being honest, you in your soul, you like, man, this is a bag of bullshit. Like, I can't take what you're giving me. But sometimes what happens is we have also been programmed to not listen to that voice, that very silent, calm, peaceful voice. And I know for everybody's intuition comes up this way. That's why it's very difficult to tap into that frequency if you're not at peace. If you're not at peace in your vessel, it's going to be very difficult for you to hear that inner voice, because you're functioning on a fearful frequency. So it's like, how do you tap into something so peaceful if your mental space is vibrating on a lower frequency? So the more and more you raise your frequency and you start to do your practices is everything. Because it's like, it's just like that's the manual to how to use this body, right? The body's like it's like a device. I like to think of it as a biochemical device. And it's just like if I were to give you a toy, right? And this toy is really complex. You're like, how do you use this thing? And I give you this manuscript. And I say, in order to use this doll, right? We'll say it's a doll. In order to use this doll, you have to make sure that you move the doll in this way, right? And you have to make sure you press these buttons, right, on the remote, so that you can get the doll to do this and that and this and that. And then once you do that, you can get the doll to do backflips and handstands and cartwheels, and you can get the doll to run and jump and hop. But if you don't know the program, you don't know the controls of the game you're playing, you will become a CPU. You will become a computer. You won't know how to use the vessel. You won't know how to use your character, your avatar in the game. Anybody who's played GTA, anybody who's played Modern Warfare, whatever, Call of Duty, my favorite, The Sims, right? Anybody who's played any video game, you know, okay, Mortal Kombat, you know you have to press some buttons to get your character to do something. So why are you not doing that for your body? You got to wake up and take your body and make sure you do that, you know, that XO square backwards, up, down, side. You know what I mean? You got to do that. You got to do that for your body. Once you get that done for your body, for the rest of the day, then you set, you good. Now you operate on pilot mode, because you got the body all warmed up, you know what I mean? You got it breathing and everything, you know what I mean? You sat in stillness, you got to really dive deep into your psyche. So now you can actually play the game.
Wow.
And I think, yeah.
Wow. So you put in the cheat codes to be on pilot mode. I love that, you know? And I mean, I'm a gamer. I used to definitely indulge myself, very much so. So what I was hearing from what you said earlier, because you just gave us a whole message, you know, a whole divine word, that we connect ourselves when we accept ourselves, you know? That's what I was feeling that the message and the theme surrounding acceptance, you know, and that was a message, you know. Thank you for giving that, because I think there's a lot of scenarios where we might say that the wig falls off, right? Or the mask comes off, or whatever comes off. But in the moment, to be able to accept yourself in the moment, no matter what other people say, to accept yourself in your own unique way, I think that will always pay dividends, you know? And it earns even more interest, and it's compounding, you know? So thank you for accepting yourself. Thank you for, you know, just teaching and reaching so many people with this message. I really appreciate this time, you know. Thank you.
Much love. And love wise, brother, thank you so much for your commitment to yourself, and for you teaching, and for you putting out the energy that's needed in the space. And I receive you as well, and I see you, and I love you deeply. And I know that we are on the right path, because you're following the path to your soul, and you're in your heart space, and you're also simultaneously sharing that with the world. So thank you so much. Honestly, it was because of you I started doing Tai Chi. You know what I mean? And so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Blessings. Well, you know, I trust that this, you know, this is our, what, our third or fourth time that, you know, that we had this dialogue, this dance, you know, this communication, vibration with these wonderful conversations. I trust that we can keep it going, keep it growing. And I just love that, you know, you're allowing people to hear you and to feel you even more, because I think the more that we do, the more we can explore, and the more we continue to shine when we see someone else shining. You know, we're all in divine timing. So much love. Much love.
Peace, brother. I love
All right.
you. Thank you for joining.
Take care.